Hi class, we are on to chapter 5, and this is all about recognizing new opportunities and ideas. So the learning objectives, we're going to explain how you can think about recognizing opportunities, strategies for generating new ideas from which these opportunities are born, apply these two primary pathways to opportunity identification, and demonstrate how entrepreneurs find opportunities through active search and alertness, and then connect your idea generation to idea recognition. So entrepreneurs have a knack for looking at the usual and seeing the unusual, at the ordinary and seeing the extraordinary. Consequently, they can spot opportunities that turn the commonplace into the unique and unexpected. So let's first talk about what is an opportunity. An opportunity is a way of generating value, essentially, through a unique or novel or desirable product, services, or process that haven't previously been used. And they must have the capacity to generate economic value, primarily profit, social value, like if you're solving or addressing a social need, or an environmental value like a recycling opportunity, and it must be new. So, sorry, I'm flipping around. The dimensions of ideas, what we're talking about here is that you can rate an idea on 4 different dimensions to see kind of what the likelihood of success is in innovation. If the product or service is novel or useful, valuable. On inventions, they score high really on novelty, but if the invention can't reach your market or appeal to people, then it's not going to be considered very useful. Let's see what else. And then improvement. So with improvement, we're talking about enhancing existing products. Like I think the book used folding sunglasses, reusable sticky notes where you had notes before, and then irrelevant is where ideas fall into both a low score on novelty and usefulness. So with that, like they had a new type of Coke. It was actually, they had a Coke Black that had coffee, and it just didn't do well in the unique marketplace. And here's how they rank these based on innovation, on novelty, like how unique they are, and then on value and usefulness. And there's where the 4 I discussed fall. So opportunities start with ideas. And there's a myth of the isolated inventor that says ideas rarely come out of thin air. Innovation includes making existing inventions more useful or value. So there's quite a few strategies that this chapter talks about on how to generate ideas, okay? So, they can just pop into your head, but this identifies certain strategies to get you thinking about ideas. So analytical strategies involve taking time to carefully think about a problem and breaking it into parts, and then kind of coming up with products or services to solve that. Search strategies involve using memory to look for information that makes connections based on your past experience that are relevant to the current problem to come up with an idea. Imagination-based strategies involve kind of dropping your constraints and imagining and being very creative. Like they use the example that Gillette came up with a new shampoo by pretending all the people on the team were hair strands. Habit-breaking strategies are techniques that help break our minds out of what you're used to thinking about or mental fixedness in order to bring about creative thoughts. Then the last 3 strategies. Relation-seeking strategies, that's where you consciously try to make links between ideas that are not normally associated with each other. Like you think of a word and then describe the characteristics of it to try and solve a problem using those new characteristics. Development strategies are employed to enhance and modify existing ideas, and then interpersonal strategies in which group members collaborate and come up with a new or approved idea. That is kind of like what we were doing with the discussion question, where you elaborated on somebody's idea. Let's see. All right, and so this is just figure 5.2, showing a spinoff from NASA, some of their products and how they've now come into the consumer market. So there are two pathways to opportunity identification. The first is the finding approach, which is a concept that assumes that if opportunities exist independent of entrepreneurs and they're just waiting to be found. So this is saying that the role of savvy entrepreneurs is to search for these opportunities by looking at the environment and what's happening, staying alert, and then ensuring they're the first to exploit these opportunities or come up with to solve a problem. The second approach is very different, is the building approach. It assumes that opportunities don't exist independent of entrepreneurs, but instead are like a product of the mind. So in other words, opportunities are created, not found, and the opportunities can originate from the entrepreneur's prior knowledge, experience, and then this allows the entrepreneur to create them. So you can see how these two compare in table 5.1. The building is based off of taking action, continuous learning, so finding or building opportunities, decisions under finding opportunities are risky, and then building opportunities are certain. So building opportunities, again, is based off of prior knowledge and also a lot of pattern recognition. So what do we mean by pattern recognition? With pattern recognition, we are talking about building upon our networks and things going on around us to come up with potential opportunities. So you can do this 9-dot exercise just to see how creative you are. Draw no more than 4 straight lines without lifting the pencil, no backtracking either. All right, so how do we find opportunities? There are 2 main ways of how this information and access to information is used that makes an impact. And the first way is the finding approach, and where entrepreneurs engage in searching to discover existing opportunities. So they're saying that the opportunity is already present in the environment, and entrepreneurs just have to look for them, to find them, and then act upon them. Alertness is different, and this is to address the question why some people can spot opportunities and some don't. They're saying that opportunities are everywhere waiting to be discovered, and certain entrepreneurs just have great ability to identify opportunities in their environment. So they don't necessarily and systematically search their environment. They just become alert to opportunities that already exist through their daily activities. And for example, I think they used like you're doing something, you have a problem, and then you go, oh, I should create something to solve this problem in just one of your daily activities, like brushing your teeth. Okay, now we're moving from idea generation to opportunity recognition. This involves a process. So we're talking about, moving ideas and creating something new, but involves a process that connects idea generation through 3 processes before you're able to identify an opportunity for a new business adventure. So recognizing ideas are not only new and potentially useful, but they also have to have the potential to generate economic value or a profit with the idea. So here's the process I was just talking about. Idea generation is the first step, production of ideas for something new. Then creativity is production of ideas for something that is also useful, so you got to have it useful in there. And then opportunity recognition means that the ideas are not only new and potentially useful, but they have the potential to generate value. So there's some approaches to enhance creativity with the purpose of trying to transform our ideas into opportunities. And they yield this acronym SEEK model. So securing, expanding, exposing, and challenging. And securing is focus on new ideas but also sustain them. Expanding is broadening your new skills to enable people to generate ideas. Exposing it is involving the skill to open ourselves to, being open to diverse and new circumstances and events. You might have to change things. And then challenging is the process of building on past failures by braving new challenges and learning from your past failures. So here is the SEEK model that I just went through in table 5.2. And again, reiterating, security is recording, focus on capturing ideas, recording those ideas for later use. Expanding, acquiring new skills, sharing our knowledge with others. Exposing, focusing on opening ourselves to circumstances, and brainstorming is a great tool to build, explore. And then challenging is to focus on new efforts and trying new things and overcoming failure. So in turning an idea into a reality, it's going to take time, resources, commitment, and a lot of hard work. But you as an entrepreneur are willing to do this because that's kind of your goal. So here's, are you in love with an idea? Just to think about. You might do this with some friends or your classmates. Have a sheet of paper, a pen and a pencil for every group member, a pencil that will not be used, or a picture pencil if you're working with a large group, a timer. Then brainstorm as many uses as you can for a pencil. You can do this with your family too. After 5 minutes have passed, everyone should stop and count how many ideas they have generated. Identify the person with most ideas, and then ask the winner to identify his first or second, and then ask people in the group if their list included those. Usually most of the people will come up with the same as. The point is, don't fall in love with the first ideas that pop into your mind, because most people will come up with those. So what you want to do is share like the very bottom of the winner's list and see what were those uses, and is there an opportunity everybody will think of for those uses that not. So you are always looking for new ideas. I think that this is a good little exercise if you try it at home. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this chapter.